So when you create war, people just die? So they killed each other? Yeah, and how many people died when they killed each other? No, I'm asking you.
It happened to the Palestinians because you kicked them out and they were running, you were shooting them. So it's the other way around. So it's a really bad analogy. It's a really bad analogy.
Content over everything.
It's actually a good...
Because there wasn't a war, because India and Pakistan were divided by the British. The British were already in charge.
And what happened? And who divided?
The deaths occurred when they were... No, I'm just trying to tell you what happened. The deaths occurred when they transferred between the two nations. That's when the trains were stopped, people were slaughtered and massacred.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That did not happen in Israel.
No, far fewer people died. Far fewer people died in Israel and Palestine.
But most of them were Palestinians.
No, I mean, there was most of the people that died weren't Palestinian. Most of the people that died were invading armies. Israel lost people, Palestine lost people.
I think Israel was created in 1948.
Israel was created in 1948. 8 Arab armies invaded.
Yeah.
The Palestinians were one of the
after the Israeli
the Palestinians were one of the weaker military forces in the region. Like most of the troops were into Jordan had a big fighting force there. Egypt had a big fighting force.
It was created with the Balfour Declaration.
No, it wasn't. The Balfour Declaration was a piece of paper that was written that said in 1917 the British would support the idea of a future Jewish state there. The Britain didn't own any land there, and that didn't have any. The only thing that Balfour Declaration had to do with the creation of Israel was a document
that started the whole thing in motion.
So
you accept that?
The League of Nations said to the British that we will give you mandate of that region on the condition that you create a homeland for the Jewish people that doesn't come at the expense of anyone else living there. And many people have this horrible view of the Allies as being these horrible colonialists. The Allies
were horrible colonialists, but it doesn't have to do with
They were amazing. They were amazing in one perspective. When most empires, when an Islamic empire came, a caliphate came and conquered land, it kept that land for itself. What the Allies did in World War I, when they defeated the Ottoman Caliphate, the Caliphate crumbled, and they said, we're not going to keep this land. What we're going to do is we're going to give the indigenous people...
The Ottoman very interesting. 500 years prior to the Israel Treaty, 500 years of ruling of Ottoman Turks, which they took back from the Ottoman Turks, which they had a right to.
And so what then happened?
500 years.
And so what happened was the Allies acted amazingly, and they said, we believe in the right of the self-determination of the indigenous people.
I mean, ultimately it occurred because they couldn't control the...
No, it was before. I mean, this is why the mandates were given, not because they couldn't control.
Most of
they were given.
The
French were given mandate of Syria and everything on the condition they create homelands for the people that were indigenous to that land. And why the Hashemite family did amazing because they went to the colonialists and they said.
What's that got to do with Palestine and Israel? And your point that
because Israel and Palestine come out of that world.
Okay.
It's not
in 1948.
Right?
No. Even this is before the 1948.
Ottomans have gone. They're there no more.
1948.
So you're accusing Israel of taking.
I'm not accusing Israel of anything.
So can I just get back? 1948.
Don't get in your head.
No, don't get in my head.
Don't forget about the Ottomans.
1948 had nothing to do with the British.
No, I have no issue with Israel existing.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
I don't have an issue with Israel existing. I think you got a bit. Don't argue with me against something that I'm actually with you on.
Mate, you have been a racist figure before. I'm not speaking to you.
Listen,
you don't like the white man.
I'm agreeing with
I'm the white man.
Let's not argue about that. We've already agreed that.
You get your racism right, brother. You get your racism right. Like the white man. The white man is your friend.
I was trying to get to a bit of a conclusion.
So can I just
bring in Muslims?
Can I just come back? I just want to finish my point. My point was very simple. The British didn't create Israel. 1948, there was a vote at the United Nations.
Right, and they gave them
33 nations voted to recognise Israel. 13 said they wouldn't. 2 abstained. Britain was one of those that abstained. So Britain, not only did they not create Israel, they refused to vote because they didn't want to annoy the Arabs.
All right, that's all done. Israel exists. Israel's got the right to exist. All I say for the Israel and the Zionists to stop making it on the bloods of the Arabs or the Palestinians or other human beings. I use the word Arab a bit loosely because obviously that's what they are. But ultimately, it's about the humanity. If you can't coexist, which you can't do, which we already know, right? Then let the Palestinians build their states, but do not define their taxation system. Do not define their armies. Do not close their borders. Do not allow them not to build ports. Do not allow them to get water when you are the one that's controlling water, and then live in peace.
So I actually, to make it a more positive thing, I actually don't disagree with what a lot of what you say. I look at the West Bank. I go to the West Bank regularly. I go to Ramallah. I go to Hebron. I go to Rawabi. I see all the affluence of the West Bank, and I look at this as a model for success. Here you have a Palestinian. No, you've never been there. Trust me. I go there.
I mean, I do read about it. But I've never been to Gaza, but I know what goes on.
So Gaza's horrible. So listen. You go to the West Bank. When I go to Ramallah, I see more Range Rovers in Ramallah than I see at Hampstead. Like, So here,
just allowed 2,000 more settlements to be built in West Bank in the last 2 weeks. So you got, bro. You know what? I don't have an issue, but you can't sit here and then say, you're removing the responsibility of the Israeli government.
You're missing my point. My point's a positive one. My point is that the reason that the West Bank is doing so good is because the Palestinians have a thriving economy.
Bro, I know you're COE. I don't want this to come on the net. This gentleman's kindly agreed. Yeah. Yeah, no, please. But you know what?
Film it on me. I like this guy.
Yeah, I'll stand back. But I think that he's not going to post it. But yeah, it's a bit of a. I mean, if you can't, yeah.
I'm fine. I'll stand in front of the camera and say Israel is great. Arabs are good people. We're going to have peace.
Yeah, if you do blow my face out. Yeah,
and can you give him like a really squeaky girly voice? Because that'll make me feel better, like a chipmunk. No, so my point is real simple. When you go to the West Bank and you actually see the affluence in the West Bank, Palestinian affluence, like I get overtaken by. I always rent a little 1 litre car, a little Kia, and I get overtaken by Palestinian Jaguars, Range Rovers, a Ford Mustang shot past me in my little Kia.
My brother in humanity. Let me make the point. This is not a definition. At the end of the day, even those Range Rovers the people are driving in the West Bank, they're built on the blood of other people. And that's where you need to come away from. You don't have to accept that, but that's the reality that exists. When I compare the Nazis to, the Zionists to Nazis, it's not because that Jews love Nazis. No, it's because their actions are similar to the Nazis.
So in Nazi Germany, were the Jews driving around in Range Rovers and Bentleys?
They weren't driving around, but you do know, and this.
I mean, they didn't have Range Rovers back there.
If you know your Second World War history, there were Jews complacent with the Nazis as well. If you know your Second World War.
So we call them capos. And what is a capo?
But you know they were there.
No. But what is a capo?
I don't know what capo is. It's obviously it's a Jew.
A capo is a Jew that collaborated in the ghettos with the Nazis. To send Jews to their death.
Right.
Out of fear for death.
They lived nicely, right?
No, they didn't live nicely. They lived in ghettos.
Okay, so they still collaborated, right?
They collaborated to save their own skin and sent children, women, mothers to their death.
Accepted.
But it's completely incomparable.
Did they get the same treatment as the people that were sent to the concentration camps?
But with the exception of death, yes.
Right. And they weren't treated any better.
They were despised by Jews.
I accept that. You would, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Like that happening your analogy completely breaks down.
Yeah, because you're just saying, they're not driving Range Rovers.
No. A Nazi ghetto, was where they kept Jews before sending them to death camps or concentration camps, That's not happening in the West Bank. No. The West Bank is a thriving economy, and we're trying to make it a positive.
Right?
I've been there many times, and you have.
I can't argue with that anyway, because I've never been there.
And I go there to meet my Palestinian friends.
I know that the Palestinians in the West Bank aren't happy either, but that's fine.
No, so why are there no missiles fired from the West Bank into Israel? Like Gaza fires missiles everywhere.
The thing is, it doesn't matter who.
No, it matters. Absolutely,
it completely matters. But because what you want.
One side wants to make peace, the other doesn't.
No, the other side doesn't. You got a problem here. You keep talking about these missiles that keep getting fired. You refuse water in Gaza. You cut their electricity. You don't let them have tax.
Why should Israel even give them?
When they walk to a border, you shoot them.
No, seriously, straight question.
You shoot them.
Straight question.
And then you come to me that 10,000 missiles that don't kill no one, while one of your missiles will kill 40 people from the same family.
Straight question.
There's no comparable here.
Question. Why should Israel give electricity to Gaza?
Why should they? Because you're an occupying force.
We're not. There's no Jews. There's no Israelis in Gaza.
You're an occupying force.
There's no Israelis in Gaza.
You haven't got a choice.
You're not only. How is Israel occupying Gaza?
Blockading all of Gaza. I tell you what.
Egypt. How many borders does Gaza have? No. How much electricity does Egypt? Listen. No. We're not. This is really important. How much electricity does Egypt give to Gaza?
None.
Yet you say that Israel has no humanity.
Why?
Why? Because Sisi hates Hamas.
No, I'll tell you why. Because Israel will not allow Egypt to build an electrical wiring into Gaza. You won't. Egypt is actually with Israel. You're making an argument which is irrelevant because Egypt is backing Israel.
Egypt has.
Sisi has put walls up and dug them down so they can't make the tunnels into.
Why?
Under whose orders?
Under his own orders.
No, under your orders.
He hates Hamas.
No, see, you know what? I don't have an issue, bro. Listen, if you're gonna deny.
So you think that Sisi likes Hamas?
No, he's more likes Israel.
Fine, you can say that. I'm fine with that. But he's acting out of his own self-interest. He wants to retain power.
Israel is giving him power. Agreed.
Hamas is a threat to Sisi's government.
No, Hamas is not a threat.
Are you?
No, hold on. How can Hamas be a threat against Egypt? Egypt's
Why do you?
much bigger people.
Hamas fire rockets at Egypt.
No, you know what? Listen, I don't, bro. You know what? You got a problem here. I don't look again. You're making arguments which are not true. Sisi is in cahoots with Israel.
Yes,
full stop. Full stop.
This is crazy.
If I'm in power, right, and I'm in cahoots with this gentleman over here, right, and even though you're his enemy, at the end of the day, I'm in cahoots.
I'm asking you why. If all of the Arab world hates Israel, which it largely does, why is Sisi in cahoots?
The Arab world don't hate Israelis because they hate Israelis. They hate Israel because of what it's doing to the Palestinians.
I recommend you look at every single poll that's ever been done.
But there's reasons.
I'm not saying there isn't reasons. I'm saying the Arab world. No, I said the Arab world hates Israel, and you said no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't hate Israelis because of their being human beings.
I never said that. I said they hate Israel. Fine, we agree. They hate Israel.
Their actions.
But we're fine. We agree.
Yeah. But
So now let me finish my point. This is straight logic.
Yeah.
Why, if all of the Arab world is united in their opposition to Israel, why would Sisi, an Arab, be in cahoots with Israel?
But they are.
No, I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying why. I'm saying why.
Whatever their benefits are, it's irrelevant. But I don't know what they are because I'm not in government, right? But you know that we both know Sisi's in cahoots with the leadership of Israel.
Why?
You also know that the Saudis are in Israel.
I can tell you why.
Saudis are in the cahoots.
I can tell you why.
Jordan has a treaty with Israel. Turkey has a treaty with Israel.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why for all of those. Yeah. So I can tell you why Israel has a treaty with why the Saudis are suddenly warming to Israel, because Saudi has realised that Iran. No, it's a tangent, but it's important. What? Saudi Arabia's invaded Israel.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I recommend you look into the 48
war.
No,
I do know about it.
There was a Saudi force in the 48 war.
There wasn't. They backed down. Go on, keep going. They didn't do it. But you're right, the Arabs did invade Israel, and in 67, I think?
67
as well.
Yeah.
So there was true, but it wasn't all the Arab regions and the other Arabs held back.
It's a really, really simple point I'm making.
Yeah.
It's so simple. If all of the Arab, I will find you. They stuck cameras on me. If all of the Arab world is opposed to Israel, and Sisi, like the Saudis, like the Jordanians...
He's not, as an individual, he's not. He's with Israel, so is MBS.
You're not keeping up, I'm agreeing with you.
All right, then what's the argument?
The argument is why. The argument is why, and I'm saying it's because Sisi recognises that Hamas is a threat to his government.
I'm not accepting it.
And that's fine. But so you've got no reason though.
No, I've got complete
Okay, so give a reason.
Hamas can't change the makeup of the Egyptian population.
Right,
and the reason
the Egyptian population support Hamas.
Is why. Yeah, that's true. They do. I accept. But that's not because they support Hamas. Not because Hamas wants their support. They support Hamas because of the atrocities committed by the Zionists.
That's fine, but try and keep up with. Try and keep up with the logic. Try and keep up with the logic.
The logic is very
You're
basic.
getting lost.
No, I'm not. The logic is basic. The logic is any human being would support Gaza and the West Bank and the Palestinians because they're humans, unless you're a Zionist.
So Sisi's a Zionist.
Sisi's in power. He's in cahoots.
So again,
he can't be a Zionist. He doesn't. How can he
okay, I apologise, YouTube, for this argument going round and round in a circle, but it's impossible to pin this man down.
Okay,
I'm giving you reasons why Sisi. So as we said before, you didn't really know this, but Sheikh Yassin founded Hamas. Sheikh Yassin came from.
You didn't.
No. Listen, the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza was Sheikh Yassin.
That Hamas was created by the Israeli Secret Service as a counterweight to the PLO. It's not about.
It was created by Sheikh Yassin.
Yes.
He wasn't a Zionist agent. He was a religious leader from the Muslim Brotherhood.
He was supported by the Israeli Secret Service as a counterweight to PLO. You did not know that.
You guys literally.
Bro, you will find that your Secret Service agents that have stopped working have come out and said this themselves. This is not hidden history. This is open history, but you didn't know.
So what I'm trying to tell you,
know about Sheikh Yassin?
because it's really important to the debate.
It's really important that you understand
listen.
Hamas was created thanks to you guys.
Listen.
Thanks to the Zionists.
My point is really, really simple. Really simple. The Muslim Brotherhood is the opposition to the Sisi regime. Yeah, everyone would agree with that. In Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood are in opposition
Yeah,
to the
but they're
Sisi
not the same
regime.
Muslim Brotherhood that was created during Sheikh Yassin's time, right? There's different people. We've gone
What?
through many of
Do you know who?
How long-
Do
how
you know
long
who
ago was
founded?
he- How long
Do you know
ago
who
was Sheikh
founded?
Yassin murdered? How long ago was he murdered?
But he was
When you shot a bomb at him and
2000,
killed some
yeah.
civilians around him as well.
So can I just finish the point though? Because you understand that
Yeah.
it's a tangent. What I'm saying is, the Muslim Brotherhood was founded by who?
According to you, by Sheikh Yassin.
No, that's the Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza was founded by. No, before that. No, it wasn't Nasser. He was opposed to the Muslim Brotherhood. No, he wasn't. Is it Al-Banna? No, he wasn't. Al-Banna, I believe it was Al-Banna. Is there any Egyptians here? Or anyone who knows about the Muslim Brotherhood? Was it Al-Banna who founded the Muslim Brotherhood? Was it Al-Banna who founded the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt? Who founded it? Yeah. Founded the Muslim Brotherhood.
No.
Who founded the Muslim Brotherhood?
Who made that? Yeah, Ikhwan.
Ikhwan, yeah, Ikhwan.
Yeah.
Yeah, who founded it?
Hassan al-Banna.
That's what I just said. So Hassan al-Banna, that's what I said,
It's
sorry.
the way you're saying.
Yeah, it's an English accent. Sorry, Aki, sorry. So al-Banna founded it. Sheikh Yassin was what we call in Hebrew a Talmud, a student, and he went and he created the Gaza branch. So you basically have two organisations which are ideologically aligned and a threat to the
But bro,
Egyptians.
I agree with you, but you've got a problem, right? In the Islamic term, we're all ideologically aligned. That's not an issue.
What do you mean you're all ideological? You're not aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood. Ikhwan is not aligned with
No, in terms of your belief
Daesh.
system, you all follow the
Actually,
Prophet.
they maybe are.
No, you all follow the Prophet. That's fine. Like all Zionists.
No, but
I
you
mean,
follow it in different ways.
That's a different thing. Yeah.
No. The Muslim Brotherhood are a threat to other forms of Islam. I mean, the Ikhwan have their own, we call it hashkafa in Hebrew. They have their own philosophy, their own ideology.
Ultimately, they all follow the ideology that comes from Saudi Arabia.
I'm sorry, Muslims are slaughtering Muslims around the world
That's fine. I know
because
that.
they have a difference of ideology.
That's
So you
fine.
can't say you all follow the Prophet Muhammad in the same
No, I
way.
get what you're saying. I understand, but most of that, even the Muslim Brotherhood, even the people in Palestine, most of their ideological belief comes in from Saudi Arabia, right? So I know that. So I'm a Muslim, and I know
don't think it does.
it does.
Egypt is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Al-Azhar,
Yeah.
what's it? Al-Azhar, the
it
Egypt.
has a university.
Yeah.
A massive university.
Al-Azhar. So that is an intellectual powerhouse which competes with Saudi
I
Arabia.
wouldn't say it competes. I wouldn't say it competes. As a Muslim, I'm telling you that. I don't say it competes. They're
The Shura Council, they're different. He's saying they're different.
Listen.
Yeah, he's saying that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying they're not competing.
Yeah. Exactly. They don't follow the same ideology. They're different.
Listen, bro. I'm telling you right now, ideologically, even though some of their fatwas tend to be slightly different, ideologically they're aligned.
Did remove settlements.
They're not. There isn't much difference. He can say that, but I know it as well, and I'm a Muslim as well.
I know you're a Muslim, but
I don't accept that premise, and I don't accept your premise there either, because the Muslim Brotherhood, right? Their teachings don't come from the Egyptian.
so I'll give you a big distinction between the Saudi school.
They don't know
A big difference between Ikhwan and the Saudi regime. Saudi doesn't believe in creating a global caliphate. Ikhwan do. They believe that you can go out and establish a khilafah in non-Muslim lands.
Listen, bro. Listen. When it comes to Islam, I think we can have a separate argument, right? The Saudis may not propagate an khilafah, but through the petrodollars, they spread their form of Islam. So this is an argument we can change. We can change the debate. We're changing the debate here, but Muslim Brotherhood are probably more aligned with the belief system from Saudi Arabia than they are from the Egyptian. I've forgotten the name of the university in Egypt. Al-Azhar are totally different, and they don't allow the Egyptian school of thought don't allow suicide bombings, right? I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, I do know that.
You do know that. So the thing is, if you're going to start saying that, they're afraid of Hamas and stuff like that, it's not true. Hamas is not going to change Egypt. Egypt is Egypt. There's no
You're
issue
mistaken.
there.
You're mistaken. And this is mamish what. Sorry, this is Hebrew word. This is what Sisi and the like say. Sisi sees Hamas as an extension of the Muslim Brotherhood. Even in the UK here today, Hamas operatives who work in the UK are completely aligned with Muslim Brotherhood operatives in the UK.
Because of the Western Secret Service and the Israelis.
Mate, you can't blame Israel
I'm not
and the Jews
blaming
on
the West.
everything.
I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm blaming your Secret Service. I don't know where you bring the Jews in. I'm not blaming the Jews.
You're blaming
the Jews
Israel.
are good people.
It's literally
Listen,
people look at the like the toilet doesn't work. It's the Israelis.
Zionism and Judaism are not the same thing. Maybe to in your mind, no issue, right? You want to bring them together, but they're not. Zionism is a separate entity. If you go back
What's
to
the difference?
there is a complete difference.
What?
Zionism believes in the creation of a state of Israel.
What do
and
all Jews
Zionism only
believe?
came in 1980.
What-
The Jews don't believe that.
All Jews believe
No,
that.
they don't.
They pray 3 times a day. All Jews
No,
pray.
they don't.
Don't educate me
No, I'm
about
not educating you
Judaism.
like you're telling me about Islam. I'm telling you, I've got Jewish friends that hate
Okay,
Israel.
every single Jew prays 3 times a day to return to Israel and rebuild Jerusalem.
Yeah, on the time when the Messiah arrives.
No, not when the Messiah
Not
arrives.
when the Messiah arrives.
It says nothing.
Only the Zionists
Where does
believe
it-
that you can create
Where
it
does it
without
say
the
that?
Messiah
Where
being
does it
there.
say that?
I'm not a historian, but if you speak
No,
to
no,
other
not a
Jews-
historian, it's theology.
No, no,
Where does it say that?
I've got Jewish friends that clearly believe that I don't go and ask them to give me statements from their books and give me references. I'm not going to ask them that, but majority
Okay,
of
but
a lot
I'm
of
coming
the
to you
Jews-
with source material. When I say something about Ikhwan, I ask Muslims to back it up, and I actually provide where it comes from. I mentioned the Egyptian school, Al-Azhar, the university, and so I'm
I'm telling
asking
you that
you,
you're-
which
you're-
Jews say this? So it's all good and well for you to say I've got a friend, but I don't know if you've got a friend or you're making
I've
it
got
up.
several
So you
Jewish
have
friends,
to,
right?
you have
That's the reason why I try to stay away from this recording,
But
right?
but what you have to do, you have to provide me with some source
Are
material.
you telling me?
You can't just say my mate Dave says
No,
this.
my mate, it wasn't Dave, it was Paul. Right?
Paul's not a very Jewish name. It's one of the Christian fossils.
What I'm trying to say to you here is this, right? Zionism and Judaism are not intertwined. Zionism is the creation of a state, and that is their intent.
All Jews believe.
They
all-
believe in the creation of Israel on the coming of the Messiah.
No, that's what
Yes,
you
they do.
say.
No,
And your
Jews
mate
say
Paul.
that. No, not my mate Paul. Even you've got the Jewish people that also say, I've forgotten their name.
Neturei Carter.
Yeah, they do
An
it as well.
Eastern European
And they-
sect where you can count them on
Listen,
2 hands.
All Europeans are not truly Semitic when it comes to the European side, right? They're not truly Semitic people.
So am I truly Semitic?
I don't know if
Look
you're
at
an
me.
Arab. I don't know if you've got Arab ancestors.
So
I don't know.
I've
You'll
done my
have to tell
DNA.
me. You'll have to tell me.
I'm going to. Most of my family
Yeah.
aren't Jewish. Most of my ancestors aren't Jewish. Only a small number of my ancestors are Jewish. Yet even I have DNA that goes right the way back to Israel. Like literally, you can see it on the map, and it's the biblical borders of Israel.
Yeah, but that's what you're saying. I mean, again, it's the same thing. Look,
I can show you my DNA, though. I'll show you my results.
You are, but I can't say that for all Zionists.
So-
a lot of the Zionists, they know that. Everyone knows. A lot of them have come from Europe. We
No
know
one
that.
says that. No, basically,
So
you're getting confused. You're getting
no, I'm
confused.
not getting confused.
I'm
You're
going to
a Semitic
respond
man.
to.
You're a Semitic man.
All
You're-
Jews are Semitic.
Right. So, and all Arabs are Semitic.
I'm not saying they're not.
Right, so the point is, it's the argument about being Semitic or not. But at the end of the day, most Zionist Jews are from Europe. That's a fact.
No, yeah, categorically. So in
not
Israel,
wrong.
so I'm going to explain to you. The majority of Israelis, Jewish Israelis, are not light-skinned brothers like me. They're dark-skinned brothers like you. They
Right,
come.
so if you look at all the
So
people
no,
on the
let me
borders
finish.
killing Palestinians,
Let me finish.
most of them are not
Let-
dark.
Let me finish. The majority of Israelis come from the Middle East and North Africa and Israel. That's where their ancestry is. Anyone
They're
can
not
Google.
dark.
Anyone can Google this. If you look for
But I don't
instance,
need to Google. I see it on TV every single day.
Mazel
Tell
tov,
me why.
mazel tov, mazel tov. I'm telling everyone can actually look at the statistics rather than what you've seen on TV and what
So
your
the
mate
TV's
Paul said.
lying now.
I'm not saying your anecdotal evidence doesn't come against hard facts. I'm talking hard
Take
facts.
Netanyahu.
No, listen.
He's white as white. Take Lieberman, white as
So-
white.
so you've named
Take
two
all
people.
the people that have been in your secret service, white as white.
So-
I've got no issues. I've got no issues with white people. I'm just saying.
So
But you're
listen,
trying to tell the people here that they're brown and black.
Listen, not black. I never said black.
Brown.
The only black Jews are the Ethiopian Jews largely, and you've got some Ugandan Jews as well. I've got many close friends.
No, you're right. I can say that.
But I said the Middle East and North Africa. What
Yeah.
colour are people from the Middle East and North Africa?
They're
Largely.
normally olive and dark skin.
Yeah. And so the majority of Israelis, and anyone can look up the stats on the internet, are either Sephardi or Mizrahi. The majority. European, what you'd call European Jews,
all the people
Ashkenazi,
in
and let
power
me
are
finish,
you.
I listen to you.
Yeah.
The majority of Jews from Europe are called Ashkenazi Jews, yeah? And so we'll come on to that debate in a second, but in Israel they're a minority, yeah? Now, what you pointed out is actually when it comes to the prime ministers and the presidents, most of them have actually been Ashkenazi. That's a correct statement. And we can talk about why that is, and that's a different conversation.
founders of Israel.
But to come back to the actual race thing, whether Jews are actual Semites or not, so
No, Jews, I can't say Jews are not Semites.
I thought that's what you're saying.
No,
I
the
thought you
majority
said
of the ones
European
in power
Jews.
aren't.
I thought you just said the ones in Europe aren't
No,
Semites.
a lot of the Jews in Europe, I mean, apart from yourself, which you say you can link back, a lot of them are Jews that converted many, many years
So where's
ago.
your evidence for that?
Bro, half the Asganani Jews weren't Jews, they converted.
So where's your evidence for that?
Bro, they say it themselves. I
No,
mean,
they
I can't-
don't. No, they do
What do they
not.
say? They say they're
No
Semites.
Jew. Yes, every Jew says they're a Semite. Every Jew. You can nod your head and
Oh, you
hold
know
your
what?
hand in despair,
Yeah,
but what you're doing is
I'm there.
basically you're trying to
not.
delegitimize the Jewish
I'm
people.
not at
You're
all.
saying we don't descend from Israel,
No, I'm not
from
saying- I'm
Yaakov
saying
alayhi
you
salam.
are.
No, but you're saying the other
I'm
Jews
saying you
aren't.
are.
You're saying the other European Jews don't.
Majority of European Jews themselves say that
No, they
families
don't.
converted.
No Jews say that. You're lying.
I'm not lying. Why would I lie to you? I've been talking to you for the last hour.
You've
Why
read
would
a
I lie
book.
to you?
You've read a book by Shlomo Sand.
I haven't read. No, oh no, it's not. It's common knowledge. It's not.
It's not common knowledge among anti-Semites. Amongst anti-Semites.
No. Now look, you're doing what they're doing to poor old JC, right? I'm not.
Poor
an
old
anti-Semite.
Jeremy Corbyn.
I'm telling you that you have the right for Israel. How can I be an anti-Semite?
Because you're saying the
I'm
Jews aren't
anti-Zionist.
Jewish.
I'm saying no, Jews.
You're saying they don't descend from Israel, from Yaakov alayhi
No,
salam.
listen to me. I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth.
The reason it matters is because they're
No,
making.
it does matter to a Jew, and it's very important. I'm not trying to offend you, that you get that, right? That's why I asked you. But there are Jews out here that are not originally Semitic, right? Otherwise, they would not be killing the Arab brothers.
What? So Arabs are killing Arabs all over the Middle
We're
East.
talking about the Jews.
No,
I know
but
they're
what does
killing
someone's
you. But their
ethnicity
argument
what
is not
does
about
someone's
Semitic people.
ethnicity have to do with whether they will fight?
The thing is, why would you kill your Semitic brother?
What's happening in Syria? What's happening in Yemen? What's happening in Eritrea? What's happening in Sudan? What's happening? Arabs killing Arabs.
We're not arguing about them. We're talking about the Jews here.
You said the Jews wouldn't kill Arabs if they were
If their argument is
Semites.
purely about being Semitic people, why would you? You're talking about your humanity. You only love. So the problem you got here is, if they are Semitic people, where does their ancestry go to?
So I'm going to educate you now. I
I'm not
listen to your.
educating me, no.
So what you're basing your argument on is something called the Khazar myth, yeah?
Yeah.
It was propagated about 40, 50 years ago, I think it first came to surface, where Israeli academics, so you're right, they were Jews, started putting forward the claim that a number of the Khazar people, there was an empire which converted to Judaism, the Khazar kingdom, and they said a number of Ashkenazis, the Jews, descend from this kingdom. The overwhelming academic consensus today rejected that hypothesis. No religious Jews say that. All religious
Jews don't say that. You're
and
right. Yeah.
very
Because it goes against,
very
obviously,
few Jews do.
Yeah.
Most you can say what you want. I live in this community. I study it. It's my life. It's not your life.
Definitely. I agree. Like I was having
yeah.
about Muslims.
Yeah.
I don't tell me about where they align, because I do know where Muslim Brotherhood is and the
Al-Azhar.
Al-Azhar.
So what I'm saying is the Jews, overwhelmingly, Ashkenazi describes basically.
I'll let you have that.
It describes. I'm just good for the viewers because a lot of people believe what you believe. Ashkenazi describes the prayer rite that certain Jews follow. It's a prayer rite that evolved in Ashkenaz, which is the Hebrew word for Germany. Yeah.
Let me just give you
And so the Jews that were living in Germany, how did they come to be in Germany? We know exactly how they came to Germany. They were captured by the Romans and taken to Italy. From Italy, they then migrated north into France and Germany. We know exactly where they came from. We have the DNA is actually linked. If you look at an Ethiopian Jew who looks nothing like me, he shares the same genetic makeup as me, particularly when the Kohanim. And so my DNA is E1B1B or whatever it's called, which is it's a North African Semitic genetic haplotype. So the DNA disagrees
Can we
with
agree
you.
on one thing?
The academic consensus disagrees with you.
We were meant to be a conclusion, right? Ultimately, my point is very clear. My point is very clear. If Zionism wants to coexist with the Palestinians, they need to stop bullying, and they need to stop murdering, and they need to stop stealing people's land. Israel already exists. The only people in today's world, in 2018, that doesn't exist is the Palestinians.
And so my closing point of that would be, intention is the best way. Power is the best way of measuring someone's intention. And what you look at Israel has the power today to completely genocide the Palestinian people. It has the power today. It's the fourth most powerful army in the world. Definitely the most powerful. Definitely the most powerful in the middle. Israel.
As a fourth.
It's what many people put forward. Yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, that's
It's definitely got a very powerful army. If it wanted, it could conquer a lot more land than it has done. And so this is how we measure intention. We look at what someone does when they have. It looks. Okay, sir, can you shut up, please? Because I'm trying to talk to this gentleman.
We're all anxious to have
You can measure someone's intention by what they do when they have that power. Israel doesn't conquer any further land.
It's a very important point. You make a very good point. Is that Israel has the most powerful army in the world? There's an
Not the
issue
most powerful, but
okay,
one of the
most
most
powerful. Ultimately, Israel cannot survive with the support.
Come take over everything from your melody.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. man don't listen to ITV.
People in Africa, as in they're naturally doing what they're doing, right? And I mean, and like Rome and stuff, Rome would reach out in the world and people come back. So it's like now, if you go to London, you're going to see mixed people, right? Because
This is what I'm trying to
if you
say.
go to Egypt, you see the same, right? If you go to any place where a lot is happening, people will migrate there for betterment.
I agree.
So,
And what
but
I was
if
trying
you
to
talk about
say.
the entire nation,
No, I'm not thinking about an
That's
entire
a
nation.
bit
I'm saying it's mixed. It wasn't just white people.